How you doing, everybody? This is Let's Be Real Brad. Today we're going to be starting off my Monday MCU movies every week leading up to Black Widow that should be coming out somewhere April 2021. So if we start today, we should get up to Black Widow. We're going to be starting off with the first movie chronologically, Captain America: The First Avenger. Before we start off with this review, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. It means the world to me. You guys are liking the video. Subscribe to the channel. You guys are the best. Captain America: The First Avenger is a 2011 superhero movie based on the Marvel Comics character Captain America. It is the fifth film in release date order for the MCU movies. The film is directed by Joe Johnston. It stars Chris Evans as Captain America. I used to watch this film so many times growing up. I am obviously a big and massive Captain America fan. He is a character that I loved growing up, reading the comics, watching the animated shows and the movies, seeing him on the big screen, especially at the age I was at when I was around 11 or 12 when the first film came out. I was just so blown away. I was so excited. There's a lot of people who do think this movie is very underrated, and rightfully so. I think there are very enjoyable and tons of fun parts in this movie, but I found this movie to be quite mediocre and truly average. Chris Evans as Captain America knocks it out of the park. He embodies everything that Captain America should be. He is the shining light of this film, and he definitely adds so much rewatchability. There is a ton of entertaining action sequences that are done okay. There's a lot of heavy use of slow motion scenes that I just didn't really buy. Some of it is very boring and overall stale, but I think there's enough entertaining and creative action sequences throughout that always kept me engaged with the story and the characters. There are some hilarious jokes in this film. They do sometimes take themselves a little too seriously, maybe more towards the earlier Marvel films, and that does gonna get its criticism, but I really love the 1940s look and aesthetic to this film. You have these old 1940s buildings with all the clothing. The feel of it all always feels like I'm more immersed into this movie. And I do enjoy the cinematography at times when the film doesn't look like I can barely see what's going on, but it has this drabbed out color feel to it that feels like it's all brown and tannish, and it really fits with that 1940s lifestyle. And I do think the cinematography and the look of this movie match together perfectly. Visual effects here, they're a little outdated. You can definitely see the earlier Marvel visual effects that just don't hold up as well. Obviously, too, that they have a much bigger budget going into later films, and this was one of considered the cheaper Marvel films, and you can definitely see it in this movie. This movie does rely heavily on CGI, and so sometimes it is very noticeable, but there are times, especially when they tried to make Chris Evans a very small and skinny dude, it does still hold up. And directing and editing are very solid to me. It doesn't really stand out in any way like maybe like the other Marvel films do. A lot of boring and dull conversations that many of these characters have that just don't feel very interesting, with just really boring expositional heavy scenes that doesn't feel like it has the energy or wittiness that a lot of these other Marvel movies have. There is an inconsistent pacing to this movie, as this movie flows so nicely throughout, but then when we get to the middle of the movie, there's a lot of different subplots that are happening, and when we start going to the Red Skull scenes, I found those scenes to be very dumb and honestly so boring to watch. It just feels like I'm watching an origin story, and I feel like there's truly no stakes for Captain America. Literally until the right at the end of the movie, I felt like, damn, this is how his story is going to end, especially for this film and all the people that he has to say bye to. I found that very fascinating, but everything else just felt like I was looking through this movie like through a historical lens. Like I felt like I was just watching it but not being immersed into the action and seeing what was going to happen. It just felt like a generic story that probably could have been cut up into maybe like the first 30 to 40 minutes of the movie, and then we focus more on Captain America in the real world. I feel like when we talk about the best Marvel movies, we have our picks in mind. But whoever mentions Captain America: The First Avenger, the reason for that is because it just feels like a generic, just how Captain America became Captain America. Like, okay, great, but what else happened in this movie? I guarantee if you ask somebody, what's this movie about, they're going to tell you that. They're going to tell you any other part of the movie. It's just overall just very disappointing, and it doesn't make this movie hold up whatsoever. Overall, this is a movie that I have a close attachment to because I watched this a lot when I was growing up, as I do love Captain America, and there are really great and fun and kind of cheesy moments that do still work for me, but I felt overall that this movie feels forgettable with no true stakes, run-of-the-mill, generic origin story that we've all seen before, even prior to this movie. I'm gonna give this movie a 5 out of 10. Let me know, guys, what do you think of Captain America: The First Avenger? And let me know, what is your MCU rankings down below. And as always, I'll see you guys all for the next review, which will be Captain Marvel next Monday.